On our website, the very first thing that all registrars, anyone working with an organization, needs to become very familiar with is our resource tab. If you hover over this, many other options pop up for you. As your staff, your coaches, managers, assistant coaches, those people working with the players in any capacity, they must be added to the system. And I'll show you in a few moments how to add staff to the system and request registrations for them. They have to complete several functions prior to that request and being approved to play for your organization. You can direct, they don't have to log in and create an account in the system unless they do have permissions. If you've given them permissions to assist you with adding players, adding documents, then yes, they would have to log in. But you can direct those wanting to fill out their background screening now to go to resources and staff registrations. Another area that they would probably want to review as well would be the background screening that gives a little more information. Staff registration is kind of a step-by-step here to assist. The upper part is just a little short overview, and it does have hyperlinks to the areas that they need to go to. But if they'll scroll a little further down, they see a lot more information concerning each item that's listed here. This year, we have a new training course that everyone is required to take, and that is Safe Sport Trained. It is an excellent program that everyone, every parent, everyone needs to be aware of this course. It is a free course, and again, there's more information below that tells you more about that. Another training course that is required is the Sideline Sports Doc course. If you go further, those two courses must be completed before they click to complete their background screening application. The reason is that in the application on the very second page, they will have to upload their certificates. Both courses give final certificates. So Safe Sport Trained, there's 3 parts to this course. Each part will give them a certificate, but at the conclusion, when they complete all 3 courses, that one doesn't take very long to complete, but when they complete the whole course, they'll get a final certificate that shows that they have been safe sport trained. That is the certificate, not the other. They can only upload 1 certificate for this course, and it must be the final certificate. If they upload mandatory reporting, we're going to leave you a message advising that they uploaded the incorrect certificate. So it is the final certificate that they'll need to upload. As well as previously, we asked for the Sideline Sports Doc course certificate number. This year, we're asking that they just upload their certificate. And again, that is all on their application and must be completed before they can complete their application itself. Now, we've had some that's uploaded the same certificate in both places. Again, that will hold up their approval. We will leave you a message advising that the wrong certificate was uploaded. They will be able to go back into their application if they log into Sports Engine account and go to My Registrations. They'll be able to see the application that they submitted, and they'll be able to edit that certificate and upload the correct one. If they didn't save the certificates to their computers, which I would highly suggest that you tell all your staff to save those certificates to their computers, because they will need them for future references and in order to upload them in the appropriate places. So they will be able to go back and correct that. We've had some to actually upload their photos or a photo. So we are looking at these, and if they do not upload the correct certificates or information, we will not approve their registrations for processing, and you won't be able to print their card. The background screening course is here. On the Sideline Sports Doc course, there is a $5 payment for this, of which If your organization would like to pay for these, you can directly order bulk access for your organization by clicking this link here. And this is strictly between you and SidelineSports.course. If you want to purchase, 10, 15, 100 online courses to give out to your staff, you can do so. And the same with your background screening. If you choose to pay for the $18 application fee for your staff, you will complete this background screening prepaid form. This form you can request anywhere. If you want five applications you're paying for, we do ask that you not do them in onesies. If you're requesting one, it looks more like you're just wanting. I think some people are getting confused and requesting one, and then they go in to fill out the background check. They think they need to do this in order to fill out the application, but they don't. They can submit their credit card if they're just wanting to pay for one course. They can do their credit card in the application, and they don't have to do the prepaid form. This is mainly if you want to request 5, hundreds, or however how many you need for all of your staff. These numbers do not expire, so if you have some that were left over from this past season, they will be able to be used on the current application. And you scroll down and it goes into a little bit more information. Everything has hyperlinks to forms, other information within the system to assist you with any questions that you may have. But again, please advise your staff to complete the 2 courses before they try to fill out their background application. Under resources as well, another area if you need to know fees, if you want to know information concerning forms and documents, direct information from the U.S. Soccer Federation. If you have any information, the risk management, extremely important that you're very aware of this. Our bylaws and policies, insurance, claims, requesting insurance certificates, all under insurance. Forms and documents. The forms have been updated, adding country of birth, many other fields within this. If you have teams playing in one of the 3 entities that we send out emails concerning, you will need to fill out the information concerning the country of birth, country of citizenship, if you play in one of the 3 different areas for the DA or for the Federation. If your teams do not play in one of the 3 specifics, you will not need to fill that. That is not required fields for all players. Your youth player registration form is in English here, Spanish here. Your adult form is linked here for your English and below here as Spanish. Recreation, Super Rec, etc. So all of your forms are listed here, information concerning them. And again, if you have any questions concerning forms, if you need assistance with anything, please let our staff know. We're going to go back to the home page. And here you log into the registration platform. This takes you first to another page, and this big button here logs you into the platform. But this time of year, I strongly suggest that you read this page, be familiar with what happens this season. On July 1st, on Sunday, what is going to happen is you will be able to request registrations for all staff that are expiring, all new staff that will be playing for you or coaching for you in the 18-19 season. You will be able to renew all players that are currently with you, and you'll be able to request new registrations, and they will all be processed for the new season. You will receive the dates that are listed here on the screen. August 1, what's going to happen? On August 1, overnight, all of your age groups for teams will age up by 1. So what happens in July if you're adding new teams? Add the new teams at the current year registration. So that way when they age up, you will be correct for the 18-19. So if in 18-19, if they're going to be a 16 team, add them as a 15 team. So do be aware if you have already added any and you've added them for the 18-19 season, go back and change them because on August 1, they will age up by 1. Okay, scroll down further. There's more information here. So please do read this page. Now we're going to click and log in. On this page, if you've been added, any of your staff that you have added new to the system, they will have received an email. It is imperative that they click on the links from that email versus clicking login and then creating an account. They need to use the email that they received because there is a link in there for first-time logins to create an account, and that will link them, that will create a Sports Engine account and also link them to the Kick system within Sport Engine. So if they currently have filled out their background application, they already have a Sport Engine account, but they may not have a Kick account yet with under that umbrella. So tell them not to create an account here. Use the link that is in that email. If they have been added to numerous teams, they've received numerous emails. If they already have a Kick account, their account should be, their login information, if they saved it, should be listed here. So in my case, I'm just going to click sign in. Now, this is the dashboard. If they log in and there is nothing to manage, there is no competition or a club or your club listed that should be listed here, tell them not to click create one now. If they create one now, it's a brand new club that is separate from yours. They don't need to click there. Tell them first to contact you and let you know. You need to verify that you use the same email address that they've created their account with, because if they use a different email, they've created an account separate from yours. If they want to use the account that they've created the email for, then you need to update the email that you show for that staff by editing their information. If you have any questions, concerns, if they doesn't show up here, let our office know. We will be able to assist you with this. Menu, My Account. This is how they're going to edit and add their photo. They're going to edit their email, phone number, name. They don't need to edit their name because we're going to also verify that their name and information that is in the system, especially for players, that it is correct with what is on their birth certificate. But they can update their email here. Once a person has logged in, I will click here to show you mine. Well, mine is not grayed out here, but if we looked at my account, and I'll show you once I get to the U.S. Club Soccer, my test club, I'll show you there, my email will be grayed out. No one would be able to change my email account because I've logged in and claimed my account. And once that occurs, no one else can change your email. Only you can change it under my account. So any changes that's made, you must click submit in order for those changes to occur. Okay, we're going to go back to my dashboard. Support Center, learn more. This will take you to a new link, and you can just begin typing in if you want to know any information concerning players. It'll pull up all articles that have been created for players. You can learn how to release a player. Each article that is in here has screenshots, so you kind of know where you're at when you're adding a player. Watch the screenshots. Many of them are GIF files, so they move about, and you just need to watch what is occurring. And then you can scroll down further and keep watching how to add a player. This is a great place for you after the webinar, any questions that you have, click, like I said, just start typing a topic, and all the other articles that have been written concerning that keyword will pop up here for you to click on. Now for staff, one area that I have to say, what are staff permissions? Be very familiar if you're a registrar on today's call with this page. You may want to keep this as a favorite, because permissions are very, very important when you're adding staff, to know how you've added that staff, where you want to add that staff, and what permission do you want to give them, if any. You do not have to give permissions to your coaches, managers, and assistant coaches if you do not want to. That is entirely up to your organization and how you want to manage your accounts. If you do not give out permissions, then no one's going to help you except those that you have given permissions to. Now, if you add people at the organization level, note that at the organization level, you are giving them permission to see every team in your organization and handle that permission or permissions that you have granted them. So if I add a coach at the organization level, he or she can see every team. And if I gave them managed players, he or she can add and edit and delete players, release players out, because release players is only handled at the organization level, not at a team level. At a team level is where you need to really concentrate on adding all your coaches, managers, and assistant coaches versus at the organization level. At the team level, they see only the team or teams that you have granted them permission to see. So that if you've added them to 3 teams, when they click in, they're only going to see in their drop down 3 teams. And they're only going to be able to handle the permission or permissions you have given them for those 3 teams. I do suggest be careful when you're giving permissions that if they're on 3 teams, give them the same permission for all 3 teams. Because if you give them manage documents and print cards for one team and you don't for the other 2 teams, they're going to be very confused on why they can do this on one team and they can't do this on the other 2. Our staff, if they contact our staff and ask for more permissions, we cannot grant them. That is from the organization. We have to tell them to contact the registrar of the organization, because only you or other registrars in your organization can grant those permissions. Okay. This contact us, I should have shown you. Normally I show this on this page. If you go to About, Staff Contact Us, the upper map is that of our membership services staff and is a little different from our administrative staff. So the administrative staff in Myrtle Beach that you will be contacting for any questions within the system, any carding, insurance questions, any administrative questions would come to our staff here in Myrtle Beach. So if you're located in New York, you would be contacting Carla Dalton, and her email address and phone number with extension is listed here, and by the same going down the list here. When you click Contact US Club Soccer, you're going to, this automatically goes to that same contact page. Menu, you do have find organizations, so you can find other organizations in the Sports Engine system. Help and support, about kick, terms and policies, again, contact US Club Soccer. Okay, and your log out button. I'm going to show you my club here. This is a test club, so there's a lot of data in here. First thing I'd like to show you is all teams. When you're at all teams, you are at the organization level. And of course, here it tells you you're at the organization overview. Now, coaches, managers, people you've given permission at the team level, they will be able to see this overview page, but they will not have any other tabs here if you did not give them any permissions at the organization level. They can only see the organization overview page. When they click on the drop down, they will only see the team or teams that you have given them permission to, you've assigned them to. In my case, I am logged in as a registrar with all permissions. So understand, if you're on the call today and you are not you may be a registrar, a director, or other representative of the organization, and you may not be able to see everything that I'm showing you today because, again, the system is permission-based and it depends on the permissions you've been granted. If an organization has 3 or 4 registrars because you're large and you need assistance with adding players and teams and managing everything, not every registrar in the organization needs to have every permission, because not every registrar needs to manage money or manage the organization. Only a few people. Normally, when a new organization is set up by U.S. Club Soccer, we grant the president, the director, and the registrar of the organization all permissions. And then they have the ability to add more people to the organization and grant permissions from there. So again, not every person needs all permissions. If I click on one of these teams, I will then go directly to that team level. Okay. On your organization overview, if you've logged in before a week or 2 ago and you had a little map here, the map, it's not a glitch in the system. They did remove the maps from the system. So we all know where we're located, so we really didn't need that map. Hopefully this real estate here was going to be utilized for something else. I've asked for additional staff to show here, but it is not a glitch that the map disappeared. If you have managed the organization, you have an edit button. You can click choose to upload your organization logo. You can scroll down. You have your club information. We do ask for the email address here on the club that shows up on the left-hand side of your organization overview, be that of your primary registrar. Because you can have more than one registrar listed in your organization, but our admin team here in Myrtle Beach likes to contact only one registrar per organization. Nationally, we have a lot of people that we're talking with, and getting on long strings of emails between everyone makes it difficult. So we do ask that the email address for the organization be that of the primary registrar that you want our team to talk with, and then you, as the primary, would discuss and train other people within your organization. Also, the phone number should be that of either your club, if that's where the registrar is at, or that club registrar, that primary registrar's phone number. So the street address and all for the club can be that of your organization or your mailing address. Whenever you make any changes, make sure you click submit. Now this NDC integration, don't worry about that. That's not for you. That is our new integration with U.S. Soccer for the ID numbers for FIFA and the U.S. Soccer. This will automatically fill out as need be. Staff, excuse me, let me go back to the overview. I'm going to scroll down. Your organization is now sanctioned. If you do not have this, make sure that if you are with U.S. Club Soccer that you do click and request to be sanctioned with U.S. Club Soccer. Once you are sanctioned, your administrator within our Myrtle Beach office will show up here. So this is the best place to go to know whom you need to talk with. Their email address and phone number is listed. How to get started, again, takes you back to that support page that I showed you earlier so that you can look up any keywords to find articles to assist you with adding players, adding staff, releasing players, requesting registrations for processing, and so forth. The members area takes you back to U.S. Club Soccer's website for the additional resources. Scroll down a little further. It gives you an overview of how many staff you currently have listed in your organization, a little summary of how you've listed them, whether it's full-time, part-time. This is just for your convenience. How many currently have cards and how many do not, and the same with teams and players. Okay. Add staff. You can view all staff that's in your system, or you can add new staff and not have to go to view all staff. At this time, we're going to click on view all staff. You have a filter here to assist you if you have numerous pages. I don't know that I have anybody named Smith, but that's always a good go-to. I do have a Nick Smith. So you can use your filter to narrow your search down if you have numerous pages. Click reset, and that takes you back to the original view. Now notice when I scroll down here, many of my staff are listed more than one time. That's because you can see who's at the organization level and who is on each team. So if it has the name of the organization, that is because they're listed at the organization level. And then for every team that they're assigned to. Now the one thing I can tell you here that is very good for you to scroll, but I suggest you don't have to scroll and look at every person for every page you have. The quickest way to note whether you have staff listed with different ID numbers, and that's very important, that every staff should only have the same ID number under their name here, because if they have one that's different, if Kevin were listed here with 2 different ID numbers, that means that I've got to request 2 cards for them because he's got 2 different IDs. The system is based on ID numbers. So if you've added someone incorrectly and they have 2 different ID numbers, then you're going to have them assigned to teams, and one team may be carded and their roster shows that they have a card, but the other team is going to show no card because it's a different ID number. So what I suggest here, especially this time of year, click on the export of your staff. This exports all staff to a CSV file that's within your organization currently active and on teams. You will be able to see what their ID numbers are and match and see if anybody has different ID numbers that you need to click the X. And once you click the X, they are going to disappear from being assigned to that team. They're not disappearing from the system, mind you. But if I come down here and I click the X with Kevin on the Kool-Aids, there's nothing that happens. I don't receive a pop-up advising me that, or asking, do I want to do this? He just disappears. He's gone. He's no longer assigned to the Kool-Aids. If I did that by mistake, okay, all I have to do is go up here and new staff. Here we right-click on every hyperlink. We right-click and open on a new tab or a new window so you don't lose which page you're on. I am not going to start by entering his name. If you are going to add a staff that you think, that you know, not think you know, has been in your system, don't start by adding their name. Come down here, enter their email address. As soon as you enter their email address, the system is automatically searching for them. I'm going to choose Kevin, and it's going to populate everything that's already in the system, so I don't have to do that. If I had started adding his name and then got to the email address, the system's still going to look for him. But because I started with his name, I'm going to have a new ID number. So don't start with their name. Always when you're adding staff, enter their email address first. Let the system look and see, do I have anybody here using this email address? And if there is anybody in the system using it, they're going to automatically pop up and you can choose them, and it fills out information that keeps them with that same user ID number, and it does not create a new one. I can scroll down, I can click here, and notice how organizations Okay, he's the president of my organization. I'm not going to add him again there, but I made a mistake. I need to add him to the Kool-Aids. Okay, I'm going to choose his role, and he is the coach. And I'm going to scroll down, and you can determine again. I would keep your coaches, managers, if you're giving them permission, give them the same permissions always, so that way you know what you've given them. So from team to team, when you're adding them, you know what permissions you've granted. If you want them to assist you with adding players, if you want them to be able to remove players from the team, they're at the team level, they are not releasing the players out if they click the X at the team level. At the team level, they're strictly removing them from their team. If they click the X from the organization level, then you're going to, and I'm going to show you, you're going to get a warning, and if you click OK to that warning, you have released the player. Manage documents, manage rosters, you're allowing them to create new rosters if they're going to a fall event and they don't want to take their regular official roster because maybe their regular official roster has 25 players on it. You are allowed up to 26 players per team. Your regular official roster has 25 players, but you're going to a fall event, and that fall event, only 18 players are going to be able to attend. Others are on vacation, or maybe that's what the number is that the event you're going to allows you to play. You're going to create a special roster. You can name it the name of that event. You're going to enter all the players from the team, the 18 players. That's what manage the rosters is. If you have a league affiliated roster, you need someone to manage that at the team level so that they can manage their league roster when they add new players to the team if they play on that are going to play in that league. Manage documents. Important if you want them to upload waiver forms or certify you have the waiver forms or upload birth certificates. Now, not every organization allows the teams to request their own cards. You can do so if you want to, but that's entirely up to you. But you do need to monitor that every team has requested their cards if you're allowing them to request at the team level. A lot of teams clubs do allow the managers and coaches to print their cards once they've been approved by U.S. Club Soccer. If you have any questions concerning the permissions that you're giving anyone, click here. That again takes you back to that What Are Staff Permissions page so that you can see, am I doing this correctly? You're going to click Add Staff, and he has been saved. Now, if you're adding more staff and you want to continue adding, you can do so from this page, or you can just go back, view all staff, and check out the rest of your staff that's here. Once you have exported, and you may find that there's a lot of staff that have incorrect information, incorrect addresses, phone numbers, please click, if you export them out, see what's in the system for their address and their phone number and all. Make sure that U.S. Club Soccer, this account is up to date, so U.S. Club Soccer and Sports Engine knows information, current information. It is a U.S. Soccer rule that we have to have current information on every coach and every player. So please make sure if you're missing any information, you can click on Edit and update their address fields. If you need to check out their permissions and change the permissions, this is how you're going to do that. Now notice when I said when I was under my account for myself, I said if I logged in from here and looked at my account, I would be grayed out just like Carla Dalton is grayed out here. The gray out means she has claimed that account and I cannot make changes to that email address. Now I can make changes to her phone number, her address, but not the email address. Okay, so this is how you're going to get that updated for each staff, and the same way that you would also update for your players. View all players or add a new player. Okay. Oops. Because I added him, I've gone to a team level. Anytime you're at a team level and you want to get back to the organization level, just click view all teams, and that automatically takes you back to the organization level. So here we're going to click on all teams. Again, adding a new team, you're entering a name, an age group, and a gender. That's all you're entering when you add a new team. Make sure that when you add your teams, again, that you're using the current 17-18 year of that age, the age group, versus next year's. If you have ages, dates listed in your team names, you will have to update that information. The system is only going to change this U18 team, 2000. This age group is going to go up to a 19, but this is going to remain a BU18 team. So I'm going to have to go in and edit this team name information, and the same down here. So each of these would have to be updated by myself versus the system. When you add a new team, make sure that all of your team names are unique. You cannot have the same team name. If your organization migrated over from our previous platform, I strongly suggest that you go through each page and make sure all of your team names are unique, because if they're the same team name, when you scroll up and you click on the teams, your duplicates are not going to show up here. It causes a system issue in the system when you have the same team name. So do make sure that you review all team names and update them accordingly. You can have numerous beach kickers 1, 2, 3 or ABC, but you cannot have 5 beach kickers teams, even though they're different age groups. You have a choice here. You can either click and open the team from here, or you can click to edit the team. Now, the first thing, if you click edit, you're going to be on the team name and page. You're going to edit the info for the team. So I can make changes here and click submit, and that updates it. Or I can make a change and say, no, they're going to be strictly female this year. And once I click submit, it would update it. And this is telling me, because I made the switch to female, I have a lot of males on that team. So it's automatically telling me you've got 25 players here that are going to become invalid because they're the wrong gender. So change it back, and my little message letting me know goes away. Okay. So I could update the team name here. And then over here, remember I had clicked on the team name itself. Well, here I'm just going to refresh this page. And now my team name is Beach Kickers Test. So if I wanted to click edit, I could change it back here on this page. So either tab that you're under, whether it's here and even over here, once I have completed, the page is going to refresh and take me right back to the view all teams. So I'm just going to click out of that. As now I am at the team level for Beach Kickers. I'm going to scroll down. It is a requirement that you scroll on every single team and make sure every team has a coach. You don't have to have an assistant coach. You don't have to have a manager if your organization chooses not to do so. But every team must have a coach. That coach must be registered with U.S. Club Soccer, completed both training courses, and their background application must be passed. You must request their registrations for processing. That means requesting their pass cards for processing. And we must have approved them before they should be out on that field with those players. Okay? So make sure every team does have staff listed on their overview page. All of your players are listed. Official roster is here. If this team was part of a competition or a league, I would have another league roster here, and that have league information listed here as well, but it's not at this time. And notice how this says 0 for competitions. I'm going to show you how to affiliate with a league. So we're going to click on, we know we have no competitions here, so we're going to find a new one. Once it refreshes, I want to come up here, and I know I have some test ones, so I'm going to put in ZZ to narrow the numerous pages search down. And I want to click request here. Now, if I click view, that's just going to take me to the overview page for that league, so that way I can verify, yes, this league is in the right place. I'm seeing the league's overview page. I'm just going to click to request. And once you do so, some leagues have created divisions and some have not. So you're just going to, if you click it and it doesn't have any listed, then just don't worry about the division. You're going to click here, and if I had other fall rosters, spring rosters, other created rosters here, don't click them. Don't let the system always choose official roster. Even if you have other rosters listed or other league rosters listed, choose official roster. Let the system create a specific league roster for that competition that you're requesting to play in. We're going to click submit. And now my request right now is pending. It was pending until the registrar of that league goes in and approves my application for, or my request for playing in that league. Once my status changes to approved, if this particular league I'm playing in has special circumstances of pricing or any special circumstances that might be around that league, do not request registrations for processing until this status shows approved. Once it's approved, then your special pricing will go into effect. But if you request registrations prior to that, you will be paying full price. Any special fees that you should be receiving for a team, you must request the registrations for processing at the team level. You cannot do it from the organization level. At the organization level, you're always going to pay the full U.S. Club Soccer fee. If there's any of your teams playing in leagues that have special pricing, you must request those cards or registrations at the team level. If we go back to our overview page, you will see we have one here, and we have that created roster. By using our official roster was duplicated, and there's 30 players on this team. Now, don't ask me how 26, how I got, oh, it's because adult teams do allow 30 players, I'm sorry. The adult teams are not locked into the 26, but youth players, since my team is an adult-aged team, if it was a youth, I could only have 26. Okay? Now, if I added 3 more players right now to this team, it would automatically, the 3 players would automatically add to my official roster. Every player you add to your team automatically goes on your official roster. But those created rosters, the players are not going to show up, because if it was a spring festival that the roster was created for, that player wasn't there in the spring. So why should the rosters automatically update? Because they weren't there, they didn't attend. Same for your league rosters. They're not going to automatically update, because you might have 26 players on your team, and your league, though, might have a rule that you can only have 20 players on your league roster. So this is where you have the flexibility of managing those league rosters. If your league freezes your rosters, they signed off on the roster that you turned into them, do not add any more. Do not update. You can add more players to your team You can't add them to manage your league roster and add them to the league roster and then go present a new roster to at a league event if your roster was already signed off on. Okay, so this is where that manage the roster comes into effect. Now, once my league has approved my team to play, the league information is going to show up right here. There'll be another gray box like this with that league name listed here. That's your code. You don't have to click on competitions and see if they've approved you. That's letting you know once it shows up here, I'm approved. I can go ahead and request these registrations for processing. Okay. If I need to add some new staff here, I can automatically add them, or I can just view all the staff that's listed. And note though, at the team level, any of your coaches, managers, they're very limited on what they're able to edit. They're not going to have the same fields that you have at the organization level. So many times they're only going to be able to edit a phone number, but they may not be able to edit the address information. Now at the team level, if I say, well, you know what, Perry is not the assistant coach now, I'm going to remove him. If he is already listed on another team within the organization, he's still going to be listed at my view all staff at the organization level. He'll still be on the other teams. But if he's not, and I click him here, I've just removed him from the organization, but not really. As long as you got that email address, and I'll show you how to find it if you don't know how. As long as you get that email address that was assigned to him and add him back again, adding that email address of you all staff, you're going to be able to add him back. Okay? Now, we're going to look at players. And at the team level for the export staff, export players, you are only exporting the staff and players assigned to this team. You're not exporting everybody in the system, only on this team itself. Okay, so when you view all players, you can add a player. If you decide after you review them that this player is not listed here, you can click and add the player. At this level, if you click to remove a player, you have removed the player from the team, not the club. If the player is not assigned to another team within the organization, they go into what is called open teams. So that way they're open for any team to pick them up. So if I take Avery off, he's automatically gone, but I've not released him. Anytime you get a warning in the system, you are about to change something that we cannot get back. US Club Soccer can't help you get them back when you click OK for a warning, and Sports Engine cannot get them back. You have just released that player, or you've just totally deleted that team. We can't get those rosters back. We can't assist you with that once you click OK. Okay, but at the team level, I can show you in a few minutes how to find that player. Okay, so we've got all of our players. We've got their no jersey numbers. Okay, let's go over here and view our rosters. We can click Manage. Now you can have different jersey numbers on each roster if you want. So you're going to click Manage. And once it opens, we're going to click Edit. Edit on the official roster here is where you're going to edit the jersey number. And save. Okay, this is how you update your jersey numbers. Now, you got a little X here. Be really careful here because you can remove players from your team here. If you're on your official roster and you click here, you're doing the exact same thing as you were doing at the organization, from view all players on this team. So when you click here, I'm also going to remove this player from this team only, But he or she is going to show up in open teams or still assigned to the other team. So I'm going to remove from this roster, but I've also just removed him from this team. Okay. So if you want to bring him back on the team, you have to remember his name. And I'm not seeing him listed right there. I'll show you in a minute how to get him back. Okay. View all rosters. Again, you've got your manager league roster as well. Now at the league roster side, when you manage the roster, it's a little different from managing at the team, from the official roster. Okay. When you manage from the league roster, I'm going to take Aiden and Alex off this league roster. Okay. Now note when we go back over to the overview page, Avery and Alex are still with me. They're still here. I have 26 players on my league roster and 28 players on my official roster. So I've just removed them. They're not playing in the league for this team, but they are playing for this team. All right. If you've given at the team level that coach or manager the ability to request cards, they're going to have this tab. If you have not given them the request cards and or print cards, they will not have a cards tab. They will click in here. If you gave them manage players and manage rosters, they're not going to have a staff tab and they're not going to have a cards tab. And if you didn't give them manage competitions, they're not going to be able to affiliate. Only you at the organization level would be able to find a competition for them as well, if you didn't give them that permission. So many people on today's call, if you depending again on those permissions, you may not have all the tabs that I have listed here. We can request cards at this organization, at this team level. And notice that we can only request those that we have a check mark for. So right now, I can't request any of my players' cards, and it is grayed out over here because I've not uploaded probably their birth certificate and or their waiver form. So we do need to upload those. They are required. Your little lock over here means that they are required documents. This being an adult team, I need to upload my adult. It is a requirement of our insurance company that U.S. Club Soccer has on hand every adult player's registration waiver form. So because we don't require your adult aged players unless they're a youth playing on an adult team, we don't require their birth certificates. So we ask that you upload their waiver form for their birth certificate. And to get around this lock, we're going to say, certify you have their waiver form that you just uploaded to us. So you're going to choose and find their waiver form for that adult player, and you're going to certify you have that adult form to get around these locks on the two documents. Now, if you've got a youth playing on an adult team, or this was a youth team, you're going to upload their birth certificate. We do ask that these are JPEG or PDF files that you're able to upload. Be careful of the size of the document. Many can have a lot of detail design to it, and they can be quite large. Even if you think you've got them small, they will not upload unless you have them less than 3 megabytes. So be careful of your sizes. We do ask that you rotate them. If you're looking at it on your screen upside down, before you save them to your computer, go ahead and rotate them, because it certainly does help our administrators here to be able to view them properly. Names on those birth certificates. If that child has 2 last names, please go in and edit their last name. Enter their last name exactly as it is on their birth certificate. enter their first name as it is, because that is a time saver for our administrators here. If, as you're adding players, their first name, last name matches what is on that birth certificate. If your player has been adopted, you will need their birth certificate, and you'll need the court-issued document that's been recorded of that name change. You can scan both documents together and upload them in that place. We will need both documents. The court-recorded name change forms do not have, and if your state does have the date of birth, which I don't think I've ever seen one that had it, but if they do, they may not match that birth certificate. So we do require the original birth certificate and that name change form uploaded together for those players. And then you can upload their medical waiver form. If you don't, that's a big thing for you that you have given us a copy, because if you've noticed at the top of those waiver forms, you've got to keep them for a very long time. If that player only plays with you 1 year, statute of limitations on that player and claims and for insurance and all, you've got to keep those forms for a very long time. So I know it is time consuming, and we're not requiring you to upload those children's forms, but if you want to go ahead and upload them and have them documented here, that would be good. But you can just certify that you have them on hand. Okay. And once you do have everything in, then the X is going to become a check mark, and this is going to ungray, and you'll be able to request their registrations. So I've got a few people in my shopping cart. So what I normally say here is at this team level, if there is special pricing for this team that you just put in your shopping cart, click on to view the cart. Look at who you've requested. Are they popping up at the right price? Because if every time you look at your shopping cart after you add teams to it, you kind of know, okay, yeah, I just got the right pricing, or no, I don't, this is too high. You can go in and take off the person or persons that you've just added, and then you can go back, make sure that league that you have affiliated with the league, make sure they have approved the team to play in the league. That would be why you're not getting your right pricing. If you're saying, no, I've been approved and I was doing it at the team level, look at your roster. Did you manage that roster? Did you add the players from your official roster that you just added? In this case, we did copy our official roster when we made the registration. But say, for instance, you made that affiliation and there was only 5 players on your official roster at the time you made that affiliation. And then you added 12 players to the team. Well, guess what? Those 12 players didn't automatically add to that league roster. If you didn't add them to that league roster, that could be the other reason why you're not getting the right pricing. So make sure that you have gone through your mental checklist there. Did I do it at the team level? Is my team affiliated with the league? And is my league roster managed? Okay. So once this comes in, you can view your cart. At this point, you can say, nope, I'm not quite finished. I want to add some more to my shopping cart. Or you can check out. It's entirely up to you. We do ask that you limit the amount that you're requesting checking out at a time. Limit it to around 100. We ask that you keep it, no more than 100 if possible, because it's very time consuming for our staff, and we don't want them to lose place where they're at. And when you get several hundred in there, they have to remember what were they working on before they left for lunch, or at the end of the day they clicked on it and they've processed part of it. Well, then you're going to wonder, well, why didn't I get the rest of them? Well, they were in the middle of doing it when their day ended. So we do ask, and they try to be cognizant of opening up an order and processing it based on where they are in their day, because large orders do take a lot of time for us to review. We do not ask you to upload these forms for nothing. We look at every birth certificate. We look at every adult player form, because we have to verify that that the names are correct, that the dates of birth are correct for what information we have received. So please help us out here. The more that you make sure that the names are correct with their birth certificates, the quicker our admins are able to process these over for you. Be very careful when you hit your space bar not to put spaces in front of or extra spaces after their name, because if you do that, you're not going to be able to find them in a filter search. Our team can't find them in a filter search. If you put a space in, an extra space will cause us to not be able to find them in a filter. So be very, very careful how many times you hit that space bar and where. Okay. Now, where did I get to? We looked at teams. We affiliated with leagues. Add players. You go back to make sure I'm at the organization level. We can view all players, we can add a new player, or we can import players. At this point, we're going to view all players. Okay. Now remember, I told you, when you remove a player from a team at the team level, and they're not currently affiliated with any other teams, they're going to go to open team. Okay. Now earlier was something similar to this that I put in, and there's our two children that we removed from that team, and they are listed in open teams. Now if I want to put them back on a team, all I have to do is click edit, and I can scroll down. I can upload their photo right here now. Note when you upload a photo here, or when you're adding a player, you will have a cropping tool. So you'll be able to select, you'll find that photo, and you're going to have a little cropping tool that you can crop it so that you're getting just their head, and you can click upload. You can also take your device, if you have a mobile, your laptop or whatever, to the field, and you can click on the camera over here. Well, I've already clicked here. Anyway, you've got a camera over here. You can click on the camera and you can take the picture right there into the photo, into the profile. So in this case, though, we're going to click to add that photo, and we've done so. But again, if you click that camera, you'll be able to take a photo, and it uploads right into the profile here. We're going to scroll down. Again, these are all the new fields that we added for the ID numbers. Once we get back those ID numbers from the U.S. Soccer and from FIFA, they will automatically pop up here. These are not any, these fields here are nothing for you to make changes to, or you won't be able to make changes to these, but these are behind the scenes here that will populate. We're going to scroll down. I can update their phone number here. I can update their address information. Going to assign them to a team, and I need to make sure it's an adult team. This one is an adult. If I assign them to a team that is not, I'm going to get a warning. This warning says this player is the incorrect age for this team. This warning could be that it's the incorrect gender for the team. If you know that you're adding them and that this team is currently a 22 team, but with the changeover of the season, they're going to be an adult team, you can go ahead and add. But I do say, when you get these warnings, don't click add until you go back, click cancel, go back and look at their age group, look at the team information before you click add. You're going to get the same kind of warning when you have triplets and twins, families with the same last name and same date of birth. You're going to also receive this warning. If you've already looked at your system and you know that Sally Smith is added, but now you're adding Tom Smith and they're twins, go ahead and click add. you can do so, and the system will do that because you already know it's a twin or triplet or what the circumstances are. You've already reviewed. You're not giving them multiple ID numbers. It's okay. But if you've not checked it, if you want to train your coaching staff, managers of teams who are adding players, tell them if they get a warning, click cancel. Don't add them. Email me, call me, ask me, let me look them up at the organization level to make sure they're not already in your system, possibly on another team. Your club may not allow players to play on multiple teams. Your teams may be playing in leagues that will not allow them to be on multiple teams. U.S. Club Soccer gives you the flexibility of having players on multiple teams, but you also have to go by your club's rules, and you have to go by the league or leagues that the team may be playing in. So I would train your other people assisting you with adding people. You receive a warning, click cancel. Contact me. This keeps you from having duplications of names with added user IDs out of the system. So that way you don't end up with a player on two different teams with two different IDs. And now you've got to pay us $50 for that adult player cards because you have them in two places with two different ID numbers. We don't want to charge you that, but the system and U.S. Club Soccer, we don't know that you've done that. So please, when you receive a warning, I would say stop, click cancel, go check it out before you click add. Okay? Now, warning here. Nothing's going to happen. I've put him on a team, but until I click update the player, I'm not. I've got to make sure that I save this page before I go somewhere else. At this point, I could browse and find his medical waiver form and upload that and certify that I have. You can do all this while you've got this listed. If you don't have it, just click update the player. Now we successfully added this player to this team. Okay. Now if you search for those same, see those spaces get you in trouble. We search for them. We have one assigned to a team, well, the other one is still in open teams. Okay? Now, again, you have the ability to export your players. Export all your players out if you have players in your system, if you're not a new organization. Look to see, you may have players that were added during a time period when we first went over into the Kick platform and address fields were not required. It is, again, a U.S. Soccer FIFA rule that we must have everyone's address, phone number, information. Not having that information will hinder them from going to the NDC to get back their required FIFA and U.S. Soccer ID numbers. Again, it's not required that you enter their country information and all unless they play in one of the three entities that we sent out the information on, but it is required that we send the information over to them and we get back these ID numbers for every player. If you have blank information there, we can't send it over, and they're not in compliance with the NDC protocols. So please export out your players, update every player that you find is missing information or their current information is not listed. They've moved, their phone numbers have changed, information has changed. Take every player that you find on that export and put them in another spreadsheet that you need to update. You can click, let's click on import players. This has been updated here. And you'll see that the fields have changed. There's a few ID numbers here that's been added to the template. Download the template. The export that you exported is going to give you a lot of information that you don't need to put back into this template. but you've got 15 players that are missing or need updated address and phone number. You're going to take that export. You want to take the player's ID and enter it on this template. You want to take the player's name and date of birth and gender, just like it is on the template. You're going to copy, or the export, you're going to copy it to your template. And then you're going to update their phone number and their address fields. Make that all correct. Okay. And then the rest of the fields, if they're not playing in, a DA team or whatever, then you don't have to fill out this information here. You can then save that CSV file to your computer and then browse, find it, and import it. This is allowing you to update those players that are already in the system, their address fields and phone number, so you can be in compliance and have that information. So again, you're going to use the existing ID number, player ID. External ID, that's always going to be blank. You're just going to have a blank field there, and it will take everything. Okay? First name, middle name, last name, date of birth, gender, from. Don't make any changes to those, or you'll get error messages. They need to say just like we already have them. Note that anytime you're adding new players, their date of birth field must be month MM. So if their birthday is July, that needs to be 07. If it's July 1st, it needs to be 0701, and then the 1959, 1970, 1999, whatever the 2003, it needs to be the full year. Okay, so once you get your import completed and you get it saved, browse and find it. And I'm not going to complete this because I've got so many in here, but I'll show you really quickly. Wrong one. Okay. When you're importing in, you're going to label your columns. So here, if you did enter that you're going to, in this case, I don't have that field, so I'm going to say I don't have it. And the external is always, you've got it in that template, so you're going to find it in this particular example. I was testing something else, so in this one I don't have it. And then you're going to say I got the first name. You're just telling the system, you're lining up your columns of information with this information. And you're going to do that all the way across. And then once you complete it, then this is going to open up where you can click to process the import. Make sure that after it processes, if all 16, it's going to give you information as to whether they all uploaded correctly or whether you have any error messages, because any twins, triplets, you cannot import them in because of the last name, date of birth, and because of those warnings that they have to get. So if you're entering twins and triplets, my suggestion is don't even have them on your import CSV file. Just take them off, put them on a separate file, and manually add each one at add player, because they're not going to, you're definitely going to get a error message. If a player is already currently in the system and you did not enter their player ID number, the system is going to give you an error message because it found that same last name and same date of birth player, and it's not, you'll have an error message and they won't upload correctly. But again, if you're just wanting to update their address fields and phone number fields so you're in compliance, make sure that you export so you can use their player ID field in your CSV file. And that will help you to get everybody updated correctly in the system, and it won't be as time consuming to have to click edit for every single player. Okay, so back to view all players. The other area here that I want to show you is required items. You can upload documents here, and you can upload photos, But when you upload a photo here, you will not have a cropping tool. Now, note, photos are not a required field. You can request cards without having a photo uploaded. Now, I suggest, it's time consuming, but I suggest uploading photos because I really think it's more time consuming to have to print the cards, get out the glue sticks, get out the scissors, find all these little pictures, and make sure you're gluing the right picture to the right player. I think it's a whole lot easier for you to let the system do the work for you. And when you print the cards, all you're having to do is cut them out, fold them, laminate them, and you're done. So again, it's not a requirement to have the photo, but it's a huge time saver for you at the end of the day when you print these cards out. Again, you can edit and you can add your proof of birth if you need to. If we send you a message that we can't read the proof of birth that you uploaded or birth certificate, we're going to send you a message. If we do so, you can click the X, delete the proof of birth you already have uploaded, and edit and upload a new one over that one here. Okay. Here, this X, we're going to click it. We got a warning. This means that every team that Holland is on, every team roster that he has ever been or she has ever been assigned to, and if they currently have a card with us, a registration with us, these are going to be removed. I'm releasing this player. Do you want to continue? If I say, okay, yes, I want to remove her from everything, that means I've released her when I click OK. Which, this time of season, please, we ask that you go in and that you do clean up your system, release out players that are no longer with your organization, because it just helps streamline and keeps you from having so numerous pages of open teams, players who are no longer with you. And if you say, I'm not quite sure, I need to check with the coach and make sure, click cancel and you've done nothing. Now note that every player, in this case, all of my first ones here are open teams. But if I go back and click on those boys that every team is hyperlinked, so I can drill directly to that team that player is on if you need to get to that team. So anything in blue is hyperlinked is either hyperlinked or it sorts. Okay. Cards, we're going to request cards, print cards, or view previous request under cards. Cards are registrations. The cards are letting us know that these players, these staff exist. If you do not, say for instance your club plays in events that you don't have to have cards, but you do have to have team roster, or vice versa. Or maybe you even play in things that you don't need either. If you don't click cards and request your staff and players registrations for processing, U.S. Club Soccer does not know that they exist. You are not covered. They are not covered with insurance until we have approved them and they're good to go. But if you do not go to cards, request cards, and make that request and receive back an approval, they should not be on the field playing, practicing, and attending games. So it's imperative that you do this. At the team level, at the organization level, you can request all teams. But again, if the team or you have team or teams that play in leagues with special circumstances of pricing, you must do those at the team level. Okay, and you're just going to click the little buttons over here. And in this case, I need to go, I've done a lot of testing, so I would have to go many, many pages over to find people that I wanted to request. But you're just going to click the little button when it's open, when I can. You're going to click it, and that's automatically going to put them in your shopping cart. Okay, print cards. Print cards this time of year Many registrars ask us, how do I know who is about, which staff are about to expire out? Well, click it once, and it sorts by all your players first. Click it again, and your staff are first. So then you can scroll down, and you see my first few staff here expire on 2019. But I have a few staff here that are going to be expiring August 1. So I definitely want to let Beverly and Melissa and Angie know we're going to have to renew you this year. You're about to expire out. Go take these courses. After you take these courses, fill out your application and upload your certificates correctly in the right places. And then so we can get this processed, and I'll go ahead and request your registrations. Just let me know once you have filled out that application. Let me know. Now, one registrar for every organization can see staff tracking. And let me go back over. Let me close a few of these windows out. Let me go back over to resources. Background screening. If you are the primary registrar of your organization, if you're not sure whether you can see staff tracking or not, because you may be a new primary registrar for your organization, and we may have your old one listed. What you need to do is click on the staff tracking page here. When you click on it, it's going to open, and you'll, in this case, I'm already logged in, so it's not asking me to log into Sport Engine. If you have permission to see staff tracking, you're going to be right here as long as you're logged into Sport Engine. If you're logged into Kick and you click that link, you're going to come right here, and you're going to be able to see everyone who has passed. In this case, I want to go to South Carolina, and you're going to wait a bit. And once it refreshes, I noticed earlier it takes a little bit for that one to pop up, but it is going to pop up and ask you for what club within South Carolina you want. But right now I really want to show you that you're also going to be able to see this current year that we're under, because you might want to go back and see some of your staff for this year. Again, you're going to click your state, and you're going to find the club you're with, and you're going to click submit. And this is going to narrow down your amount of data that you're looking at so that you can see the people who have passed. And if you want to get them in alphabetical order, you're just going to click on your last name or your first name to get them in alphabetical order. Okay? So that's how you're going to see. Now, if it doesn't automatically, and see, I told you it takes a few minutes, but it is going to pop up, and then you're going to be able to go down and pick your state, and I probably don't have any right now. And I don't. So you can pick your state, find your club, and that narrows your search down. If you log in here, if you come here and you don't have access to it, then what you need to do, if you are the primary, and check with your organization, make sure that you are the primary person. You can click this link here. It's a form requesting that you are the registrar of your organization and you want access to this. Now, what we're going to do is our staff is going to look you up, make sure that you are a registrar with all permissions. And if you are, and we verified that there's been a change, that your other registrar has already been removed from the system, there's not there, we're definitely going to make you the person to be able to see this. We're going to make the necessary updates in the system so that when you click on background staff tracking page, you will be able to see your club, and we will let you know when that is completed. Okay? Now, so this is how you see everyone now. Of course, all your players are going to be expiring August 1. Now, we have this defaulted to approved and new. You can always change it to see all statuses. Remember I told you, if you have staff who you've removed from your View All Staff page, somebody removed them from a team and they weren't already assigned at a team level, with another team, enter their last name. And then you can find them, and then you can click on, I'm going to click on this one. She was a staff, so you see your kind here. And you can open it and take her email address and go back to staff, add new staff, enter that email address, system founder, and now you can assign her to the new team or teams that she should be on, or he. So that's how you add someone to another team or a team within your organization if they are not currently at that team level. Excuse me, listed in your View All Staff. Okay. So again, like I said, this is defaulted, so you only see your approved and new meaning they're in for processing, but we've not actually approved them yet. Once they switch over to approved, they're good to be out on the field playing and coaching. Again, change it so that you see everyone. If you need to find someone that was from a previous year with you, and you can change it to all statuses and then do a filter search for their last name. When you are printing cards, the primary reason here, right now I only have one page of cards to be able to print. If I had numerous pages, I would be able to click a couple of them here, and then I could go to my next page and find some more, and I can keep going from page to page. Then I can print at the bottom here where it says print all cards. I can do up to 30 individual cards and then click print. Or, this is where I should have said open in a new tab, would have saved me time. Oh. Let's go back to the beginning. Okay, if I uncheck, I can just print everybody that's on this page. Excuse me. So you have options. You can click numerous, or you can just click and print page by page by page. Your cards are going to print 5 per page. You're always going to get this registration card info page, so just scroll down and tell your printer to start on page 2. What you're going to do is you're going to cut, after you print, you're going to cut down this side here from red line to red line, across from red line to red line. Do not cut on this middle line. You're going to fold the cards in half. No one has to sign the cards anymore. We removed all of that information. So all you're going to do is fold the cards in half. If you did not upload the photo, you're going to put the photo on there. It is a requirement to have headshots. This right here, girl running, wrong photo. It needs to be headshot only. This one for Kevin, great photo. Your referees are not going to like you if you do action shots. U.S. Club Soccer is not approving your photos, and in many cases, when we are making the approvals of players and staff, you may not have even uploaded the photos yet when you've requested them, so we're not approving based on that photo at all. It is your requirement to make sure that you have headshots only on those photos. If you do play in a league and you've correctly got everything with your league and approved and all, the league logo, the league may have uploaded their logo on their account, and if they did, the league logo will print on the back of your cards. Okay. Now that's how to print your cards. Messages from our admin here, go to previous request. And unfortunately, right now, I do not have any pending request here, so I can't really show you. Your statuses are going to be completed, or user response required, or in processing. You'll see different statuses here. If you see user response required, always click on it. I'm not sure if I have anyone that I've got ever had messages on, but if that had been a status of user response required, and if if your status here is going to be new, okay? So you're going to be looking for the person that's new, but over here you're going to see red that says new out beside view the message. And if you see new there, you're going to click on the view, and we've left you a message, and it's going to pop up here. Once a status changes to anything outside of new, we can't leave you a message, nor can you leave us a message back. So in this case, I wish I had one to show you, but if there was a new message here from our admin, you would read it, and they're all in historic order, so you would read it, and then you could leave a message back to us. So if our admin told you they couldn't read the birth certificate and need a new one, or the coach, you could not find where the coach has completed a background application yet, or if they uploaded the wrong certificate, they're going to leave you a message. And please, just because you upload that new birth certificate, that does not bring that back into a working queue for our admin. Just because the staff filled out their background application, nothing comes back to our admin that's been done. If you know that's occurred, or you just uploaded a birth certificate, anything that please reply back to our admin. Your reply back to our admin brings that back into their working queue so they can go and verify, yes, they've uploaded their correct certificate now. I can approve this. Yes, I found their past application. Their certificates are correct. I can approve this. Great. I can read this birth certificate. I can approve this. Please leave us a message back, because that's what brings this back into their working queue to review again. Okay? So again, you can request cards. You're going to print cards. You're going to find email addresses of previous people to add the staff to the teams. You're going to look and see who's currently carded through 19, who's going to expire staff-wise in 18. You're going to look at previous requests to find messages and leave messages. Orders. View all orders or make a deposit. I currently have $194 on my as a balance in my account. A club that wants to, maybe all the teams paid the club for their registrations to be processed, you've given them permission to request their cards. Well, if they've already paid you, you don't want them to be prompted for payment again. So my suggestion to you would be, click on deposit, make a deposit. If you don't have money on your account, make a deposit here so that you've got money on the account, and that money is to be used for every team. It can't be team specific. So if Team XYZ comes in and uses this $194, I'm down to $0. Or if they paid at $200 in orders, then they're going to be prompted for $6 for a credit card for $6. So again, you can add money, keep money on your account by clicking deposit and making those deposits, and it will show up here. So that way you kind of have a checks and balances of what's been used and what's coming in. So you can click on the details, see from the details the order ID number, the date that you placed the order, how many cards you ordered. Was it from the club balance or was it from a credit card? That information is here for you. Okay, so if you hover over details and look in the lower left-hand corner of my screen right now, you'll see the URL for that details order, and the last 5 numbers that's in that URL is the order ID number. So if you look at that and notice right here it says last updated on, that's not your requested date. If you go over to previous request under cards, sometimes you're lucky and it matches up that this ordered on October 5th, well, excuse me, created on July 6th, last updated on October 5th. View, that's not the same ID number as where I was at. So number 2 on orders isn't number 2 on my request. But if you hover over the view, again, the last numbers that's in the URL on the lower left is your order ID number. So if you're looking for a specific one, you can hover and find that one that you're looking for. If you're trying to find particular orders, especially if you've ordered a lot of onesie twosies, and those can get kind of complicated, especially if you've ordered them all, created them all on the same day. So just a little helpful hint for you if you're trying to find. And many times our admin will ask you, what's your order ID number? Quick reference for you to not have to click. You can say, oh, it was this one for 12 that I requested. That ordered ID is 269910. I'm smart. I got it. Okay, I'm going to unmute you, and I'm sorry I talked a little bit over, but it's a lot to go over. Any questions from anyone?
On the